Alright, I must share this BD insight. It's quite enlightening. It's quite enlightening. Yesterday, he conducted a survey to find out when people started investing in XRP. Furthermore, the data indicates that we are far from reaching a high. Interestingly, 56% of consumers made purchases between 2016 and 2020. That's your team, the ones who have been through it all and have been tried and tested. The younger people who arrived between 2020 and currently make up just 36%. The problem with market tops is this: they occur when the old-timer investments are overshadowed by all that new money. We simply haven't arrived yet. And a huge thank you to everyone who dared to purchase XRP during the entire legal quagmire. Additionally, there are the ardent 8% who have held since 2012 or 2016. However, it makes no difference if you purchased your XRP years ago or yesterday. This is what's really important. You entered before the large organization arrived. Consider this: on something like XRP, we ordinary people actually outperform Wall Street for the first time ever. That's precisely why I keep telling people that if cryptocurrency is something you're interested in, now is the time. You will miss out on some of these coins if you continue to sit on the sidelines. But BD is totally correct. The true FOMO mob hasn't even begun to swarm in yet. Thus, the top of XRP is still a long way off. Simply bide your time till that wave of FOMO sweeps over in the coming months. Alright, this is crazy and most definitely not a rumor. Get this then. Swift's chief innovation officer recently unearthed an article from 8 years ago about Swift and Ripple facing off. And the best part is that he leaves a mysterious message: meet you at CBO's 2025. For example, what information about Swift and Ripple does this individual possess that the rest of us aren't expected to know yet? I'm desperate to find out what's actually happening. The strange aspect is that Ripple was actually referred to as the CBO's killer back in the day. Why? Due to the fact that hardly people attended Swift's CBO's meeting. Everyone was crammed into the Ripple surge that was occurring directly across the street in the meanwhile. How embarrassing. Swift most likely realized, oh crap, at that very moment. Ripple was no longer a mere startup. They were starting to pose a real danger. Swift essentially had two options: embrace the Ripple trend or risk being overtaken by them. And this is what's so intriguing. As the Bitcoin drama plays out in the mainstream media, everyone is glued to their screens. Behind the scenes, a whole revolutionary financial system is subtly developing. As a result, analysts are making this outrageous prediction. If we see another breakout like the one in 2017, XRP might soar above $100. They're discussing a possible 300-fold jump from our current location. Their reasoning is straightforward. We could see XRP reach the enchanted $100 level if history chooses to repeat itself as it did in 2017. Indeed, they are essentially stating that because it has already occurred, why not do it again? This is where things start to get interesting though. You must take into account all of the other significant catalysts that will be released in the coming months. We're discussing topics that have the potential to completely alter the game. To be honest though, I don't think XRP will reach $100 unless ETFs and significant institutional funding enter the market. However, we might be looking at figures that make $100 seem like pennies if it manages to accomplish that without those heavy hitters, and then adds everything else on top, dude. However, there are many who claim absurd things like XRP is as liquid and hard to transport as livestock in the 19th century. Come on, he's out here acting like he knows all there is to know about XRP and the XRP ledger, and he obviously doesn't. For actual fractions of a penny, XRP settles transactions in 3 to 5 seconds. This guy is simply getting excited about something he doesn't even know much about. This man truly deserves your attention. Something else is involved. ETFs are useful in situations when investing in cattle is necessary, but moving the livestock to the New York Stock Exchange is not feasible. Therefore, you must have an ETF that says, don't worry. Theoretically, you should be able to transmit XRP anywhere at any time for free, but those cattle are there. Therefore, the requirement for an ETF indicates that it is illiquid and challenging to move. In the 1800s as livestock. And so, there's nothing at all wrong with this guy. He has no idea what's actually happening. Here's the problem about XRP though. ETFs are completely unnecessary. These businesses discovered that there is a significant market for XRP ETFs and realized they could profit greatly from doing so. It was a wise business decision. However, these individuals would realize that you can physically transfer XRP if they truly knew what it is, for less than a penny, anywhere in the world in a matter of seconds. Amazing, isn't it? However, they remain steadfast in their belief that the Lightning Network represents a groundbreaking innovation. This is what I think will happen. All of these skeptics will just disappear in time. You won't hear from them ever again. Poof, gone. I promise you that all of this nonsense and hatred will vanish as soon as XRP flips Bitcoin. Have you ever wondered how XRP may suddenly disappear from the retail market? That's precisely how it occurs. We refer to this entire situation as the Shane Ellis theory, and believe me, it's worthwhile to comprehend. Listen to what the CEO of 2Crim has to say about this. The fact that the pieces are already coming together, and that most people haven't even noticed yet, will astound you. Since they intend to capitalize the bank, it's difficult to predict if they would announce they won't be selling any more XRP on the market after being certified as a bank. Believe that would be a huge price boost. That is enormous. The thing is this, imagine all of the XRP simply disappearing from the market. Will Ripple really follow this path now? Who knows? However, this is a great fit with the Shane Ellis theory that has been circulating for a long time in the XRP community. Ellis, the signal's name, is making people go crazy trying to connect the dots. It's quite a coincidence, isn't it? Things might become really crazy in the market when institutions eventually embrace XRP. Get this too. Chaos magic is connected to the symbol. According to Shane Ellis's theory, XRP might reach unimaginable heights, like $1,000 or more per token, without requiring billions more in investment. It all boils down to the operation of order books and the movement of liquidity in international payments. When you think about it, the Shane Ellis theory actually makes perfect sense. With market capitalization multipliers, it's as if supply and demand had a child. To be honest, half of this notion is already being realized. Imagine if Ripple locked up all of their remaining XRP and vowed never to dump it on us, ordinary traders, even while the market cap portion is present. Can you imagine how quickly, once XRP starts to rise, we'll be in shortage mode, and bang, the demand would be completely insane. The price of XRP would undoubtedly soar to some incredible heights, but here's the worst part. It would also need to be obtained by everyone and their granny. Talk about XRP's impending perfect storm. If this scenario came to pass, we would soar over $589 that it would make your head spin. Let's now discuss XRP versus XLM, the adoption game, and their long-term prospects. The year 2025, can you believe it? And the pointless argument between XRP and XLM is still going around. People from both sides are punching each other every day, aren't they? Like children squabbling on the playground. My crypto is superior to yours. Here's what makes me laugh though. In reality, XRP and XLM will function together like best friends. Although they share many fundamental similarities, each has unique capabilities and applications. And this is the lovely thing I've observed. When XRP begins to move, XLM typically follows suit. I've been telling you this for ages, for precisely that reason. Get some XLM as well, if you have XRP. Do you have XLM with you? You'd better get some XRP too. That's the clever move here, I promise. Seriously, take a moment to consider this. You are actually holding the cryptocurrency that will manage all of that financial flow. If XLM takes over as the preferred method for individual payments and remittances, and you're sitting on the cryptocurrency that will be handling a ton of institutional funds, if XRP turns out to be the dominant force in cross-border and bank-to-bank transfers. Any way you look at it, it's essentially a win-win situation. Speaking of victories, XRP recently gained a lot of notoriety. The Central Bank of Malaysia recently included XRP alongside Bitcoin as a possible substitute for cash and conventional bank deposits. This is where it becomes humorous though. Someday try using